The Spark traveled to the Ned Smith Center's annual Nature and Art Festival and spoke to Dan Kepner about his unique electrified wood art. Dan Kepner, thank you for being on the program today.
Absolutely.
All right, so tell us what you do.
I electrocute wood. So the demo that we just did, we were pushing 15,000 volts of electricity through that wood panel, creating fractal patterns known as Lichtenberg fractals. So wood is an insulator, does not like to conduct electricity, it likes to resist it. And that resistance with the amount of voltage we put through it creates heat. So now the electricity is burning the pattern in as it tries to complete its path.
Now, you have no idea what's going to be created, correct?
I have a fair idea that it's going to look like a fractal pattern that looks like lightning, but as far as how it's laid out and which direction it goes and where it's going to connect, I have no idea. We coat the entire board with an electrolyte and then let the electricity take its own path through it. So we're not influencing that design in any way. There's nothing pre-drawn, so there's no pattern for it to follow. It's just path of least resistance exposed. So we like to call it fun with physics.
So how did you start doing this?
I ran across a video demonstrating the technique probably over 20 years ago. It was a little video from a university's physics department demonstrating the technique. I just fell in love with what it looked like and what it was doing, and had an opportunity about 10 years ago to kind of switch paths in life and decided to explore my artistic side. And this was one of the things that was top of my list I wanted to figure out. So now over 10 years, I started from just, trinkets and craft products to, fine art now.
It is fine art. I mean, we can, you showed it in the demonstration, and again, you just hooked it up and it took off on its own, but
Yes.
You have some other examples of some things you don't, the guitar faces
Yes.
are just unbelievable.
Absolutely a fan favorite. It draws everybody in. Doesn't matter what your background is or what walk of life you are. Music is pervasive to all of society, so it just really draws people in. It's a great conversation. We do everything from our own laminated pickguards. We make every part in-house. We cut our own bodies. We do full builds on guitars. We sell bodies and necks, but we make a lot of other products as well. Just general wall art, jewelry with a lot of stone inlay work into the electrocuted patterns, as well as, just trivets and trinkets and all sorts of interesting things. If it's wood, it's fair game.
Okay, well, see, that's my next question. Do you have a specific kind of wood or any kind of wood?
Just about any kind of wood. Top preferences for getting a good pattern in it. I try and chase the really fine lines of the patterns, and that's the hardest thing to get out of this technique and the first thing to disappear when you sand or do any finishing work. So with that, I like, cedar, mahogany, maple, cherry, walnut. Those are all great woods for me as far as, creating very pleasing designs. And then, but anything beyond that with your exotics, I do them all.
Mm-hmm. I would imagine, I mean, this is kind of a unique thing that when people see it for the first time, it's like, oh, that is beautiful. I didn't know you could do that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a showstopper. I mean, it's always nice when I go to some of my fine art shows and you just watch even just other artists, they just kind of stop in their tracks and have to backtrack and come in and get an understanding of what they're seeing. It's getting a little bit more popular now with social media kind of spreading the technique around. It is extremely dangerous and proven to be fatal. We do ask everybody not to try this at home. Even those that have experience playing with high voltage can still get themselves in a lot of trouble trying this.
All right. Okay, obviously when you're talking about high voltage electricity, there is the potential for danger, but what's happened?
Absolutely. Basically electricity, if you touch it with both hands, when our work surface is hot, we always, we're one hand behind your back with high voltage because you bridge your heart into that equation. It only takes 1/10 of an amp to stop it. We're operating at almost half an amp, so 5 times what it takes to stop your heart if you would accidentally, get 2 hands into that circuit.
I saw that you have rubber gloves too.
Yeah, high voltage liming gear. So those are rated for 17,000 volts. My entire shop, I work in a closed off gazebo outside of my house with ventilation and a whole lot of, very specifically built, environment to keep me alive. Yeah.
So who are your customers?
Everybody, anywhere from, kids, artists, adults. My, guitars really sell well with people that have 3-4 decades of playing experience. They've seen everything under the sun, and this is something new. Because when it comes to guitars, I'm not the only one that's done it to one, but I do it really well. I've developed my own proprietary techniques where I can kind of trick the system to grow in one direction So just the way it consumes the guitar body is very pleasing and doesn't look like it was in a campfire at any point.
What kind of wood do you use for the guitar finishes?
My favorite is going to be cherry. It's one of the more overlooked tone woods in my opinion, and a patina throughout my process, and will age a brand new piece of cherry about 80 years overnight, just by the salts and the electrolysis from the high voltage running through it, and it just draws out some beautiful colors.
So how much study, how much research did you put into wood, electricity, all those things?
Years, honestly. Just the electricity part, I spent 6 months dedicated researching most specifically about how people got hurt. And I wanted to make sure I could understand what the faults were, what went wrong, and how to work around that. So again, I have a very purpose-built shop designed to, make sure the electricity is always running where I want it to be and not going towards me. And again, good ventilation, things like that. It's very easy if you get into, you mix the wrong salts together and you can create chlorine gas or, something worse very quickly. Again, one of those reasons why, not everybody should try this at home. Understanding, some of the chemistry behind it and also the physics is very important.
So it sounds as if you have reached, I don't want to say a plateau, but I mean, you've reached a pretty high level with this as an artist. Are there things you want to do with it?
I have another generation that's coming out. It's taken me a year to basically learn some new techniques I'm trying, but it's going to be magnificent when I get the next version. It's probably going to take another year to get it released now, just with the way the show season's gone this year. Very busy, taking orders for a lot of custom projects. So my own personal development, slows down when I'm working on other people's projects. But yes, there is a new future
Can
for it.
you tell us about it?
Not yet, not quite ready to release that yet. But I will say, I have some very signature pieces that I'm the only one that does. If you look inside on my black wall, you're going to see ones with mirrors inside. So once the pattern's set, it's just black lines on the surface. I go back through by hand and do some relief cut out on it, and then back with mirror metal or wood to create light play and movement and contrast of certain colors through it. So my mirror pieces are just magnificent.
Well, it is magnificent. It's gorgeous. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you.
For more from Mosaic, please like and subscribe to the channel or check out another video. To help support this project, please visit witf.org/mosaic.